because you want to be your best pitch man, right? Like you want to be able to be the one that sells your product the best, right? You want to create your own advertisements, whether that's, ordering your product, taking pictures of it, doing videos with it, putting yourself out there, and your business will be so much separated from everyone else.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Leverage Podcast. And we're going to be talking to Peter Prue, who is basically the master of e-commerce and a dropshipping king, I call him. We're going to be talking about maximizing profits in dropshipping with the help of virtual assistants. And Peter is the guy who's built and grown multiple 7- and 8-figure online businesses across multiple industries, and Amazon dropshipping is one of them. Peter, welcome to the Leverage Podcast. How are you?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me on. Hopefully I can provide some value for, people that are aspiring in dropshipping or already have an existing e-commerce business that are looking for help with scaling.
Would love that. Thank you very much. So, Peter, I just want to make it very simple. Could you explain to me, like I'm a 5-year-old, what a dropshipping is before we actually get into your how you started this whole thing?
Yeah. So the kind of the easiest way to kind of explain it is obviously selling some sort of physical product on the internet, but not being the one that actually packages the product up and handles all the logistics side of it, right? That is where the supplier comes in, right? So essentially your job, and this is the kind of the best part about the business model and any online business model, it all comes down to good marketing, proper funnels in place, and a bunch of other things. But I don't like logistics side of things. I used to source inventory and do a whole bunch of stuff like that in my past. And it just added like a wrench into everything, trying to figure out, when the packages are getting shipped into the United States, are they getting to the fulfillment warehouses? Then all the different fees that are associated with that, especially not beginner friendly by any means. So basically, you're selling a physical product online, but the supplier is storing and holding that inventory and shipping it to your customers when you make an order.
Perfect. That kind of makes sense, actually, a lot. I mean, I was looking at what dropshipping is all about, and whatever I've read gave a very good definition of what it's all about. So how long have you been doing this? What did you do before that? And how did this all come to where you are now?
Yeah, so I don't want to take up a ton of time by any means. On YouTube, I have a very long video that you can go into and see all that if anybody cares about that, or on my website. But basically been doing these online businesses now for 13 years, was a freshman in college, had a roommate at the time. He told me, one day he's like, dude, I just made money out of my computer. And like back then I didn't even have a computer in my dorm room. Like I didn't even have a bank account back then. And I was so confused by what he was doing, but basically back then it was like the wild west of Google, right? So you can manipulate Google search engine and do whatever. So basically what we started doing at the time is we were creating these top 10 lists of everything you can possibly imagine. And they were all affiliate links that we would make a commission out of. And we were kings. We felt like we were making like $300-$400 a week. In college, that was amazing. But, ended up obviously graduating, had a full-time job, had to, get a full-time job, but was still always doing side hustles. I always, during that real, and everybody's listening, doing a full-time job. Like we all know, you get into your cubicle, you're hanging out there, you can get all your work done in like 2 hours, right? The rest of the time you get 100% spent building your businesses. Exactly. And that's what I was doing. Yeah. And so basically got into like Amazon a few years after that, built a business, was doing around $80,000 per month at the time. And then a competitor came on our listing and says we were infringing on some sort of patents, which was completely false. We were not infringing on any patents. We were sending boring generic products on Amazon. But Amazon, and if anybody listening doesn't know, is they're not in the business to settle legal battles between sellers. So they pulled our listing down, even though it was completely false. And then they make the sellers kind of like hash it out. So it took us a year to get that account back, but the damage was already done. And I learned a valuable lesson there is when you're selling stuff on Amazon, you are really only building Amazon's business, no one else, right? I had no way to contact my customers. I had no way to get in contact with anybody. Now, that's not to say don't sell on Amazon. I still do sell on Amazon, but it should be like an icing on the cake, right? So to speak, right? Like, hey, you have your store, you have your funnels where you're in full control of everything, but then you have, okay, you're on Amazon.com, you're on Walmart.com, you're on all these other little places where there's some additional sales that can come in, but you shouldn't be fully reliant on a platform that could take you down.
Same with Airbnb. I mean, I have properties I don't put them. I mean, I put them on Airbnb, but I don't rely solely on Airbnb. You know, there are other platforms.
Exactly. And you want to obviously be in multiple places. You don't know where people are going to be most comfortable buying, and there's a lot of credibility with Amazon. So, and there's a lot that goes into the story. But basically, at this time, I started learning about how to build funnels, right? And this is a big topic that I could go on for hours upon hours on. But basically, I was building out these subscription-based sales funnels. So at this time, I had stopped doing Amazon. I was shifting into my own business, which was a fishing subscription box business, where we would send people fishing lures every single month. Now, if anybody has a subscription box business or wants to get into a subscription box business, one thing you have to understand is it is very difficult for people to sign up for a subscription. People don't like subscriptions, right? Because they feel like they're going to forget it, right? They don't like it. So the struggle with subscription boxes is you're doing and you'll see like Dollar Shave Club, they're like, hey, your first month is for $1. Right, because they know they're gonna lose money on shipping and all that stuff that goes into product costs. They're gonna lose, but then they're hoping you're gonna stay there for 6 months. Problem with that, if you're not venture backed, you're not gonna be able to withstand all those costs that you're like putting on your shoulders. And that's what I was dealing with at the time. I was like, okay, I'm doing these like $5 first boxes, free shipping, free bonus items, but I kept losing money. But I was in the back of my head, I was like, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna make my money on month 6, 7, 8. Like that's where I'll make my money back. Again, it's tough. It's very difficult to grow a subscription box business that way. And during that time, that's when I learned about sales funnels and how to do direct response marketing. Right? Somebody I always tell everybody go read their books. Dan Kennedy, amazing. I mean, every single principle on business and online business you can learn from Dan Kennedy. That's where I really started learning about the funnels. We were using ClickFunnels at that time and building out these subscriptions. So what we would do is free plus shipping offers. You probably heard of those before. People do them. We do them with physical products. So what we were doing is we were giving out free fishing lures to people, right? Free, just pay shipping, right? And that was our front end enticing offer. And then on the upsells, that's where we would sell upsell products and then upselling the subscription. So essentially, we went from basically spending $40 to $50 to acquire a subscriber to now acquiring subscribers for free because we just changed the way we sold the subscription. Right? We were selling it now on the back end, not on the front end. That was huge. That led to so much less churn because again, it's a buyer now, and a buyer is way better than a non-buyer. Everyone knows. So that person would stay with the business. And at the time I was in a mastermind group with a bunch of subscription box business owners, and they were like, dude, what the hell are you doing? Because I used to always post pictures of when we were shipping all the boxes and stuff, and they'd be like stacks and stacks. And they were like, how did you get like 400 new people a month? And I was like, okay, let me show you. And I literally, you guys can go on my YouTube channel right now, search my oldest video, which is like 6 or 7 years old. And I just needed a place to show some of these tutorials to these people of what I was doing, right? I was showing them how I was building these very basic funnels. There's no editing on those videos at all. I didn't even show my face because I was like, I don't think people want to see what I look like back.
Well, they want to see what you're doing, right?
Yeah, so I was showing basic stuff. I just was showing how I was doing stuff in my business.
This is all basically like self-taught, or you're like self-educated, right? Or did anybody teach you that?
Yeah. I mean, I read a lot of books. Obviously, Russell Brunson's stuff was amazing at that time. I kind of fell out of the ClickFunnels world a little bit. We have our own platform now that we do this stuff on. But yeah, so at the time, was uploading some videos, and somebody in the group was like, dude, this sounds so complicated. Can you just do this for me? I'll give you $500. I was like, what? You'll give me $500 to like build a funnel for you? And I was like, hell yeah, I'll do that. Like, I already enjoy doing this.
That's a nice racket.
Yeah. And I remember, I still remember I was going out to dinner with my wife at the time. And I was like, I got $500 like from like air, like nothing. Cause I never understood how to sell services or sell a course or I never sold stuff like that before. So basically, make a long story short, over the past 7 years with e-commerce empire builders, we've really just focused in on e-commerce consulting, right? Helping e-commerce businesses scale using these strategies that we've kind of developed specifically for e-commerce business.
So you guys teaching people how to start e-commerce business and how to actually build those companies?
We did teach, right? So we did teach. This is, some people disagree with me, but I've realized after selling courses and stuff like that for a while, most people don't go through it. The success rates were low, right? It's like people are just get busy. They don't have time. We live in a world now, and this is where I can go on a huge rant about just selling product, like digital products.
Of course they do, yeah.
People want quick, easy, fast. Like that's what they want. If you make them go through a course, for me to try to tell somebody everything I know, it'll take forever. You learn through experience, right? So we've more shifted to service-based businesses where we'll just build the funnel out for the client. We'd rather work with less people. Obviously, we'll work with less people now because it's all done for you. Now we offer social media management, all advertising management, email marketing, all of it, the whole slew, which kind of leads me to this is we leverage a ton of virtual assistants, right?
That's what I was about to ask. You usually guys use a lot of VAs, and tell me where you guys use VAs in e-commerce and dropshipping.
Every single place that you could possibly imagine, we use virtual assistants. I mean, from obviously easiest stuff is like customer service emails, answering comments on advertisements, order fulfillment. That's the basics, right? I don't usually go out and get a virtual assistant to like manage advertising right out of the gate. I will try to see if that person fits well within our world because I can teach you to run ads. Like I can teach anybody how to do any piece of our business. Nothing is so complicated that somebody can't learn. It just depends on the person. If that person's like motivated enough to grow within the company. And that's kind of how I've been able to grow. Like some of my virtual assistants I've had for like literally since my e-commerce business.
It's been a while.
Like 12, 13 business. I've had them to this day. And I've moved them around in different parts of the company. They've done social media stuff. They've done stuff that helped us with ads.
Hey, let people grow within the company, of course. Yeah.
And there's so much, man. Like, we have hundreds upon hundreds of clients that we manage advertisements for, help them manage their social media, everything from their business that, a lot of the big stuff that we leverage virtual assistants, specifically for e-commerce is creative work, right? So whether it's image ads, video ads, and obviously for social media, those videos and stuff like that, clipping things up, editing them, that has been probably the biggest spot where we've had because, at the end of the day, these AI tools and stuff, we leverage them a lot, but there still needs to be an operator for them. And there's only so much time,
Well, that's the thing I was about to ask you. I mean, with the current AI development, people are scared that the job's going to go away, but I think you still need to have a real person operator of the AI to function it properly. So what are your thoughts on this, Peter?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think there will be loss of jobs for sure. If you're using AI right now in any way, shape, or form, you're safe because you're already way ahead of the curve. Yeah. Right? The people that should be worried that never even logged into like a ChatGPT once. Yeah. Right? Like we are way ahead of the curve. So we're safe.
Our VAs are using ChatGPT. We've trained our VAs how to use ChatGPT.
Exactly. One of the amazing ones that we've seen this is literally, I've just been testing this for the past few weeks. So previously I had all these different kinds of scripts that they would do on ads, right? So like when somebody comment, you'd have crazy comments on ads, right? Especially for e-commerce, like, hey, it's a scam, it's this, it's that, whatever. And, we usually are to tell them, hey, like block it, just, delete it and block the person. Now I'm like, just use ChatGPT. Take the comment and respond to them.
The engagement, that's what really counts.
Oh my God. Engagement. I'm telling you, conversion rates went up so much higher because think about it, there's so many, kind of crazy people out there that they'll see the comments and then they'll actually be like, oh, wow, like I was going to say this was a scam, but then they just responded that it's, all of the, a great rebuttal about, hey, I understand it's, hard to trust somebody that you see for the first time on Facebook, yada, yada, the ChatGPT response. And then the conversion rates have actually gone up.
Wow.
I was shocked. We always knew that your ads would be throttled if you do block and delete comments on stuff because Facebook and other platforms don't like that you do that. But respond to basically every single, unless one is like literally a scam link that we get a lot as well. Like people are just trying to push their affiliate links. But that's a huge one. I mean, just tell your VA to go on ChatGPT. And then here's another good one. Is in our ChatGPT, our company one, we have a couple, but the kind of like the one that I really use with some of our VAs is I will name the thread certain things, right? So I will say VA-Facebook comments. This thread now is learning all about our business and the kind of comments that we get. So it's that thread. I'm just always having them use that specific thread, or they could just scroll up and see, oh, do I already have this comment that I can paste in? Same thing for like VA, customer service emails, or, any kind of script work. Everything's a specific thread. That way they're not just always going in there, starting new conversations and kind of training the algorithm, so to speak.
Let's say somebody wants to start an e-commerce business and they want to hire a virtual assistant. What are the usual tasks that a VA can do for starting e-commerce business?
I don't start anything that I myself have to do. Me, I like to just be the idea person now and just focus on that. So I know it's hard if you're just getting started to be like, oh, like you want to be able to do that, but you might not have a lot of money. But I do recommend don't try and go out there and do all the things yourself. You're just not going to be able to do it. It's very competitive now. Hire people that are going to be able to free up your time to go and do whatever it is that you actually enjoy doing, right? So like if you enjoy the advertising aspect of it, that should be where your focus is. Then you have to then think about what are all the other pieces that need to be automated. E-commerce is a very basic business model. It's like the easiest business model, right? You need somebody to monitor your customer service emails, respond to people within 3 hours, 4 hours.
There we go.
Monitoring your comments on ads, that's important. That same VA can do that. Fulfilling your orders and just handling kind of like the order processing side of things. Those 3 things can be automated, and they're actually really big things in your business, and your VA can handle all that. Of course, right? Like most VAs that you're going to work with, for the most part, probably have done the jobs that you look for, right?
They probably know it better than you do. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the big one that I would recommend to start. I do recommend learning the advertising side yourself, because you want to be your best pitch man, right? Like you want to be able to be the one that sells your product the best, right? You want to create your own advertisements, whether that's, ordering your product, taking pictures of it, doing videos with it. I always recommend, putting yourself out there and doing your own content. If you don't want to do that and you're embarrassed, again, I do recommend like get over it. I know it's tough to like be on camera for the first time, but it's super fulfilling, and your business will be so much separated from everyone else, right? All these other dropshippers out there, they're just finding these crappy products. They just create these basic UGC ads, right? And then there's like no soul to the company at all. But then like you could take that same product that's winning for your competitor and you just be in the video explaining the product, you will beat them so much, 9 times out of 10.
I love how you put it, actually. If no faces, there's no soul in the company. You got to put some soul in the company. That's what drives the business. I really love that.
Well, the problem with dropshipping is everybody wants to make a quick buck,
course they do,
right?
yeah.
And unfortunately, there is no business model that makes it.
A lot of people don't have it, don't have a structure. They don't have any systems.
No, and it's tough. Every business, online business is tough now, because you have people that do this all day, every day that you're competing against, right? Like we launch stores, 2 or 3 stores every single day, right? So you're competing against me and my entire team we're researching new products every single day, right? Testing new products, creative. So that's not to deter you listening. I'm just saying, understand what you're stepping into, that you don't try and think that you're going to be successful your first swing at bat. You're probably not. You're very low chance of that happening.
Peter, tell me how you learned about virtual assistants in dropshipping when you started dropshipping. How did it come to you that you need to hire somebody, a virtual assistant, somebody, from overseas? A lot of people still have doubts about it. A lot of people are still on the fence. A lot of people are scared of it because they think, oh, somebody's overseas, somebody's on a different time zone. How am I going to manage that?
I figured out what my superpower is in business only recently.
And you've been in the game for a long time.
Wow. Yeah, exactly. And I only just figured it out. So in college, I was a huge World of Warcraft player. Okay. That was all I cared about at that time, and making money on the internet. Like that was it. I was not a peak maturity back then by any means. But at the time, I had so many different college essays and stuff that I needed to write. And I was like, I'm not writing these. I can't write this. Right. So I found literally, I wouldn't call them virtual assistants now, but people overseas at that time, I don't even think they were called virtual assistants back then, to write my essays and stuff for me in college. And they were like specifically, hey, what grade do you want? Right. What level do you want this at? So I'd be like, oh, just give me a B, right? Or a C. And they would be like, and then the one I turned in, I was like, hey, just give me like a B- or something.
You learn how to outsource in college.
Yeah, so some people might hear that and be like, oh, Pete's lazy. No, it's just I, at an early age, have just figured out like, hey, I want to do what I want to do. Like I knew where I wanted to spend my time. And in college, it was playing some video games. And then mainly I was focusing on building my online businesses at that time. And even now to this day, when I look at something, I mentioned this earlier, is I will not do anything that requires me to put in a ton of time every single day. Like if I'm launching a new service, like let's say TikTok ads, right? Like, let's just say I'm not helping people do TikTok ads. Like I'm not going to be the one running those TikTok ads for you. There's no way.
Exactly.
You couldn't pay me enough.
Of course.
And that's the mentality. I believe you don't need it like to my extent. I just really value my free time. I want to hang out with my family. I want to golf. Like I want to do whatever it is that I want to do. I just do trust people. I trust the people that I bring into my community, into our team. I've never had anybody quit our company. And we've only had to fire like one person in the last 7 years.
You must be the best boss to have. People don't leave you.
Yeah, and it's because I trust you.
Yeah.
You know, me and our CEO, we've had to have difficult conversations with people,
Mhm.
you know, about certain things, and we've had to let a few people go here and there. But for the most part, you can't expect, right? Like when you hire your first virtual assistant, they're probably going to be doing it not to exactly how you do, and you got to accept that. But it's like Henry Ford has an amazing way. Obviously, I like to spend my time reading too. Henry Ford has this autobiography, and it is probably one of the best like books that I've ever read. And it was how he was doing like the Model T and how they were, you know, the production line, how that all came about. And originally, like people, they would walk across the floor, get the screw, they would come back, and then they do it like that, and it would just be wasting so much time. But when you hire people and they only focus in on one specific thing, for the first week or two, they're probably not gonna do it well. But over the span of like 6 months to a year, they're gonna figure out every single scenario they could possibly, just like the person screwing the thing in.
Mhm.
At first, they're gonna be like, "Oh, okay, I missed it." Like this is like they're gonna make mistakes, but then in like a week, 2-3 weeks time, you'll come in and every time it'll be getting faster and faster, right? This is why it's important when you do hire people. Only have them focusing on a few things. Don't have them doing a million different things because they're not going to do them effectively. They just have that person be like, "Hey, just monitoring, you know, comments or ads or whatever." Because they're going to basically see every single scenario and they're going to be able to iterate over and over and over again and make it better. Going back to where your creative genius needs to be, right? Like mine is I like coming up with ideas, right? Like I like coming up with ideas and I like hiring people. I like to see the idea come to fruition. Like that's what I enjoy. And in order for that to happen, I can't be involved in the day-to-day stuff with clients. If I was in the day-to-day stuff all day, my time would be gone. Again, put your time and trust into people. Over time, they will do it better than you. And if they don't, then obviously you're going to need to find somebody new. But over time, they will find every kink in it and figure out every single, possible scenario they can go through.
As a business owner, how do you make sure your virtual assistants actually perform? What's your quality control system that you have?
You know, so the virtual assistants that we had, like my personal ones that I definitely trust them that they're doing what they're doing. Most of our virtual assistants, again, this is just what we do. I pay them on a monthly retainer. I do not pay them on a hour by hour basis. That way, like I know the tasks, right? Like that you're doing. That way, there have stuff that's happened in the past where I'm like, you just billed us like for 30 hours of work this week. There's no way in hell it took you 30 hours to do, some email checks every single morning. Like there's no way. Some of our people are still on that hourly basis, but most of the time we only like to do monthly. And that way we know, hey, these tasks for this price. If you could do them faster, fantastic. Go take the rest of the day up. I don't care what you're doing.
Exactly.
Because this budget for you to do this, but if you slip up, then we're going to have to, have a conversation. That's how I run everybody. If it's not getting done, then that's where the difficult conversations have to happen.
So you don't have any like screen capturing software that they work on or anything like that? Micromanage?
We used to, but not in the last year or two.
A lot of our clients actually prefer that to many of our clients that hire virtual assistants from us. We have our in-house timestamp screen capturing software OVA is working on, which helps for quality assurance.
For sure. And be honest, it's not about the laziness, but it's like, then I will need a VA to go look at that.
Yeah. Well, we have a workforce department for that specifically. So we do the heavy lifting for you on that. So that's what we do.
No, that's a great feature. Like I said, I think that's, for a beginner, I would say that's critical because you want to make sure that you're getting your money's worth.
Stuff is getting done. Exactly.
Yeah, like I not everybody has the luxury to be like, okay, well, I'm going to go hire 10 virtual assistants at $1,000, $2,000 a month each. Like, and handle these tasks. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, and now we actually developed into an app, so you can actually go to the app and see all your VAs
that's awesome.
Screenshots and when they logged in, logged out, went on break, so you have an idea of what's going on. Full transparency, pretty much.
Awesome.
That. Another question, Peter. So how do you make sure that VAs maximize profit in dropshipping e-commerce business? I mean, can you give me if somebody hires VAs for their business, they want to make sure that the ROI is there, basically. So let's say it's $1,000, $2,000 a month, but I want to make sure they maximize the profit, right?
So usually like with the virtual assistants, right, I haven't come across them. That's going to come up with ideas for your business, right? Your job is going to be to figure out what's that profit maximizer that I can do that I can then tell this person to do, right? So For example, the one thing we mentioned with the Facebook ad comments, we've seen an ROI from that already, right? That's going to help a lot. 2 is different kinds of customer service emails that we do. Especially in dropshipping, you'll have people that be like, hey, I just want a refund. And people will just be like, okay, tell your virtual assistant, just do the refund, right? And just be done with it. Well, no, let's add some steps in between that, right? Maybe there's, we've had situations where somebody wants a refund. We offer them like a 50% coupon code or credit to buy some additional products or services from the store, and they end up buying more stuff from us, right? So it's more about adding those kind of things for the virtual assistant for them to do to add profitability to the business. They're not going to go out there and like check what your funnel's converting at.
Of course.
You could get a very good leveraged VA that you can then hire to, let's say, monitor your stat. We have a VA that helps us with split testing, right? So they'll monitor like certain upsells. Now we don't tell them what changes to make. They then tell us, hey, this upsell for this client isn't converting well anymore. Then they'll take that information, give it back to us, and we'll add that to our queue to be like, work on, right? To like change product, change creatives. They're more information gatherers.
Be a decision maker, Yeah,
they're not a decision. It depends on obviously, we've had a great video editor. He's a VA, but he's just grown in our company so much more. He's getting more responsibilities, and like we have a great bond that we've kind of formed with him, that he's been really now leading our kind of like video editing team. It just depends on their personality and stuff. But again, they're more so put them in reporting positions and get reports that you can actually do something with. You don't just want more data to shift through. Just look at what's the key data that you can then make a decision off of.
Thank you very much, Peter. This is really helpful, and our audience will definitely check out your social media. So if you want to tell how they can find you on...
Yeah, you can check out, Ecommerce empirebuilders.com, or if you want to see all the other companies that we're working on, you could go to peterprue.com, and that's, we have a software company. We buy e-commerce businesses. We sell e-commerce businesses. So we have our hands pretty much in every single spot in e-commerce, from software all the way to exiting, your e-commerce business, if that's something you want to do. So yeah, peterprue.com, e-commerce empire builders, type it in, you'll find me.
Well, Peter, thank you very much. We're not going to take up too much of your time, but thank you for stepping in and doing the pod with me. I really appreciate it. It's nice to virtually meet you.
Yeah, you too.
Again, thank you for checking the Leverage podcast.
Awesome. Have a good day. Bye.
I just had a great conversation with Pavel about creating content to scale your business.
Click the link, check it out.
Click the link below.
Again, I highly endorse Virtudesk. If you're going to save time, money, and resources, click the link down below.
Click on the link down below.
How to make your brand stand out in the real estate industry.